pan-Africanist must fully associate with and support all revolutionary actions of fighters who are removing puppets of French imperialism from political office and power.
Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. I am the Kenyan Beast. Of course, we are doing it African way. Now, speaking of Africa, everyone want Africa to be, united. Not all of them, but most of pan-Africanists want Africa to be united, to have their own currency, to have their own military, to do away with the colonizer, to do away with the oppressors. Now, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger are the countries that are, doing away with the France colonizers, because France has been too oppressive to the countries. Reacting on this video today, I'm doing this video, Julius Malema supporting Burkinabe junta, Burkinabe President Ibrahim Traore. Let's listen to this and then we're going to talk about it.
All French soldiers and military must leave the African continent, and this also should apply to neo-colonial military bases, including the African Command Center of the USA. We don't want the army of America. We don't want the army of France here. We don't want the army of anyone. We want African army on African soil. The French continue to micromanage all the countries that were their colonies, except the recent liberated zones of Mali and Burkina Faso. Comrades, the French are brutal, to a point that post-colonialism, they still make certain African countries to pay colonial tax to France. The French are brutal because some of their former colonies, their reserve banks are still in France. They are not in control of their own economy, yet they claim to have an independence. We, as progressive pan-Africanists, must fully associate with and support all revolutionary actions of fighters who are removing puppets of French imperialism from political office and power. Not all these actions are revolutionary, because we must be careful of French-sponsored coups in Africa, where we think there is a revolution taking place in Guinea-Conakry, only to find that there is a French puppet who seeks to replace those who were there before. There is nothing revolutionary about the Guinea-Conakry coup. We ought to separate that there can never be a revolutionary coup that reinforces French imperialism on African soil. Anyone who comes into political office under the pretext that they are fighting a French puppet, while knowing they are the French puppet themselves, must be isolated by progressive pan-Africanists. All French soldiers and military must leave the African continent, and this also should apply to neo-colonial military bases, including the African Command Center of the USA. We don't want the army of America. We don't want the army of France here. We don't want the army of anyone. We want African army on African soil. The Pan-Africanist Institute should therefore provide ideological, political, and technical weapons to all progressive forces of the African continent to fight against colonialism. There is a political trend that is being accepted by African heads of state and government, where one country convenes all 54 heads of African states and government. The United States of America, France, China, Russia, and United Kingdom convene all 54 heads of states and government for a meeting, and they all go following each other like Casey and Jojo as a heads of states to listen to one head of state, 51 of them. Sometimes they disrespect them to a point where they put all 54 heads of states of Africa in a school bus to go and listen to one head of state. What happened to these men? Because all of them, majority of them are men. What happened to these fathers who go and bow combined to one man, even if it's Putin, why would they all follow each other and go and listen to one person? What happened to their dignity and their authority as leadership? They must have leadership qualities to know that Putin is equal to them, that China is equal to their own single country, irrespective of their size, because what matters is sovereignty. These pockets of wars that are happening in Africa are not of our own making. They are sponsored wars so that those who continue to steal our resources can do so uninterrupted as we fight amongst ourselves. So we need a military, a common defense system, the African High Command that will ensure the stability and security of Africa. We equally need a binding African court to deal with dictators who only exist in Africa to feed their friends and families. Those people must be prosecuted the African way. Seko Tore and Emperor Haile Selassie prophetically said that the failure to unite the African continent will give rise to the neo-colonialism and that African continent will perish. The revolutionary pan-Africanist ideological and political diagnosis of the future was correct. The future is here. 50 years later, we know that we remain visitors in our own continent. We know that our resources benefit Euro-American than our own people. This is despite most African countries gaining independence from colonial rule since 1957. Massive, huge tracts of land, our mineral resources, our animals, our oceans are still owned and controlled by the colonial masters. There are no countries in the entire African continent that have gained full economic emancipation and independence. And this includes Ghana, which was the first to lead the road. Till to date, it can't claim that Africans in Ghana own the means of production. In 2016 report titled The New Colonialism reveals that there are 101 British companies listed on the London Stock Exchange that control an identified 1.5 trillion US dollars worth of resources in Africa in just 5 commodities: oil, gold, diamond, coal, and platinum. This is a very conservative figure since it includes resources listed by only some companies. Many companies do not provide the figures of the resources they control. And majority of these companies that do not tell us what they control and what they own in Africa are found in DRC, because they are the ones who fuel the divisions in DRC. They are the ones who fuel the fight in DRC, and they are stealing the resources of DRC.
Welcome back. It's evident on these sentiments of Julius Malema. These are the things and steps that Burkina Faso President Ibrahim Traore is taking. Now, it's literally Julius Malema is supporting what Ibrahim Traore is doing. Can we imagine in Africa where Ibrahim Traore and Julius Malema work together? Can you imagine a meeting between Julius Malema and Ibrahim Traore? Can you imagine the country or the Africa that is being led by Ibrahim Traore and Julius Malema? Because we all know Julius Malema is fighting for better Africa. It's evident. He has never been in power, but from the words he talked, from how he faced issues, it's evident that he is fighting for better Africa. Now, Julius Malema said that we need to do away with the oppressors. We don't want a country where France or the French people are being the lead of that country. We don't want the puppets of the French, the puppets of the US, the puppets of all these countries. Now, when Burkinabe president took into power, the first step he did, it was to cut ties with the French. We understand, French has been so oppressive. French has oppressed these countries for so long. I never imagined that even the reserved bank of this country, like the countries that are being led by French, is not in their countries, it is in French. And that's why we see a lot of hunger, a lot of economic crisis in Western countries, because most of Western countries, they are controlled by the French controllers, by the French colonizers. And the way French, they govern these countries, they just took everything from the country. They take everything from the country. And Ibrahim Traore knew this. And his first step was to cut ties with the French. And that's why there is a number of attempts, coups towards Ibrahim Traore. But I hope cutting ties with the French, it will be the first step for a better tomorrow for Burkina Faso people, Mali people, Niger people. But let's not forget that not every coup that happens in Africa is for goodwill. Because we may attempt coup here in Kenya because maybe we see William Ruto is the puppet to the US. And we initiate coup, bring in another deeper puppet of the US. Because these coups, most of them are being sponsored by foreigners. The coups that are happening in West Africa are being sponsored by foreigners. You may find maybe this president that is in power, he missed some things with the French people. For example, take an example of Guinea Conakry. Guinea had a coup, but the coup was not for a goodwill. Another puppet of the French came into power because the first president, the people who were in power, maybe they missed. They did not want to go the way of the French. So the French people sponsored a coup to bring in now a softer and a deeper puppet of the French. Now, it's not every coup that happens in these countries is legit. We are giving an example of Burkina Faso because at this time, Ibrahim Traore, he is the best that we have right now in Africa. Ibrahim Traore have changed Burkina Faso. Ibrahim Traore is speaking the truth of what is happening in Burkina Faso. Ibrahim Traore is bringing back the country of Burkina Faso to Burkinabe people. And that's why we are using Burkina Faso president as the example of the kind of presidents we want in these countries of Africa. We don't want a puppet. We don't want to jump from one colonization to another new colonization. In these Western countries, we have a number of leaders that are being assassinated just because they are not aligned by their oppressors. We have number from the Sankara to all these people that have been eliminated. Most of them were the prize of the country. Muammar Gaddafi, name them. Starting the age of Kwame Nkrumah, where he was a coup happened and they removed Kwame Nkrumah from the power. It was not because Kwame Nkrumah was a bad person for the country. It was because the countries or the nations wanted to put in their puppet. It was because Kwame Nkrumah was not aligned by the agenda of the oppressors. It is because Kwame Nkrumah had a future for Africa. And believe me, these people, they don't want someone who has future for Africa. They want to oppress Africa day in, day go. They want to oppress Africa every day. And that's why we are having a number of coups that we think a country will come to, will have a good country, but another coup, another bad country. Another coup, another deep shit. But Ibrahim Traore, the first step was to cut ties with the French. And that's what Julius Malema is saying. And that's why we are saying Julius Malema supporting what Ibrahim Traore is doing. But my worry is, we never want a military of any foreign country. But Ibrahim Traore and this Mali, Niger, and even Nigeria, most of them, they want Russia to come in, or Russia is in the picture. So my worry is, will the Russia be the best friend we need than the French? My worry is, are we jumping from fire, from smoke entering into fire, or are we on the right track? Is Burkina Faso President Ibrahim Traore in the right track, bringing the Russia in the picture? Because we can decide to change. Now we are cutting ties with French. Let's bring in Russia. And then we find Russia is so bad than French. We cannot know at the first time, but the more we continue, the more we get to know. But I think Ibrahim Traore brought Russia into picture because to help with the security. When Ibrahim Traore cut ties with the French, I know the French government will be, sponsoring a number of coups against him, sponsoring a number of anti-government, sponsoring a number of, people who will be against the government, so that to remove Ibrahim Traore from the power. Burkina Faso has resources, and the France want the resources that is in Burkina Faso. Each and every country of the white people wants to have a bite of the resources that are in our countries of Africa. Believe me or not, West Africa has a lot of resources. It's one of the regions that is blessed. And that's where we have a lot of problems. Nigeria, Ghana, Burkina Faso, Guinea, Senegal, Congo, we fight every day. Because these people will never let us live in peace. When we live in peace, our mind will come together and we will start regrouping. We will start rethinking of our next move and know, we have gold. What do? We can reserve this gold in our banks to improve the economy for our countries. All in all, I too support what Ibrahim Traore is doing. Just let us not allow our country to fall again into wrong hands. Let us not allow our African countries to fall again into wrong hands. Because the wrong hands that sometimes we say it's better the devil that you know than the angel that you don't know. But believe me, every day, I will try the angel that I don't know. Believe me. If I stay with the devil, I won't stay with the devil. I will make sure I do away with the devil. It's better I try the angel that I don't know. That's for me. I don't know for you. Because if I manage to do away with this devil that I know, that means even if I bring this angel that I don't know, and he is the same devil, I will manage to do away with him. Tell me what you think of the comment section about the words of Julius Malema towards the countries, African countries. What his vision, will it come true very easily? His vision, will it be a successful? A lot of people are saying that it will not be soon. The unity of Africa will not come easily. But we will keep on trying until something happens. Tell me in the comment section what you think about this video. I am the Kenyan Beast, of course. We are doing it the African way, and peace be with you.